The 7 dimensions of life. Everything I build starts with a question. Not what should I build, but who should it serve, and how should it serve them? That question led me to a framework that changed how I see the world. I call it the 7 dimensions of life. And today, I want to walk you through each one, because this framework is the foundation of every app I have ever built, and every decision I have ever made as a builder. Let me start with how this framework came to me. I was on a long run. I do my best thinking when I run. I was training for a marathon and I had a lot on my mind. My business was growing, but I felt scattered. I was working hard, but I could not tell if I was making progress because I did not have a way to measure it. Not just money, not just users, but something deeper. Something that captured the full picture of what it means to live a good life. As I ran, I started listing the areas of my life that mattered to me. My faith, my money, my mind, my body, my family, my community, my work. 7 areas, 7 dimensions. And I realized that when all 7 were strong, I felt fulfilled. When even one was weak, everything else suffered. That was the insight. Not that life has 7 parts, that the 7 parts are connected, and that neglecting one weakens all the others. Let me walk you through each dimension. The first dimension is spiritual. This is your inner world, your faith, your peace, your sense of purpose. When this dimension is strong, you wake up with clarity. You know why you are here. You know what matters. You feel connected to something bigger than yourself. When it is weak, everything else feels hollow. You can have money and still feel broke. You can have success and still feel empty. You can have a full calendar and still feel that something is missing. The spiritual dimension is the foundation of everything else because it answers the question why. Why am I here? Why does my work matter? Why should I keep going when things get hard? Without a strong answer to why the other dimensions lose their meaning. For me, the spiritual dimension is anchored in my faith. I am a Christian. I read the Bible every morning. I pray before I start building. And I have a verse that I carry with me everywhere. Matthew 7:7 and 8. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. That verse became my ask framework, which I will talk about in a later episode. But the point is that my spiritual dimension gives me direction. It tells me not what to build, but why to build. And that why is what sustains me when the building gets difficult. The second dimension is financial. This is your relationship with money. Not how much you have, but how well you manage what you have. Financial literacy, budgeting, investing, understanding that money is a tool, not a goal. When this dimension is strong, you make decisions from abundance, not fear. You invest with confidence. You save with purpose. You spend with intention. When it is weak, you make decisions from scarcity and desperation. And decisions made from desperation are almost always bad decisions. I learned this the hard way. There was a time when I was so financially stressed that I could not think clearly. I was making bad business decisions because I was desperate. I was saying yes to projects I should have said no to. I was underpricing my services because I was afraid of losing the client. I was spending money on things I did not need because buying them gave me a momentary feeling of control. The financial stress was not just affecting my bank account. It was affecting my judgment, my relationships, my health, my peace. One weak dimension pulling everything else down. When I strengthened my financial dimension, everything improved. Not because I had more money, because I had more clarity about money. I stopped making decisions from fear. I started investing in things that mattered. I started pricing my work based on value, not desperation. The financial dimension is not about getting rich. It is about getting free. free from the fear that money controls you, free from the stress that comes from not knowing how to manage what you have. The third dimension is mental. Your mind, your knowledge, your ability to think critically and solve problems. This is where education lives. Not just formal education, but the kind of learning that happens when you read books, listen to podcasts, have deep conversations, and challenge your own assumptions. A strong mental dimension means you are always growing. You are always curious. You are always asking questions and seeking answers. A weak one means you are always stuck. You stop learning. You stop questioning. You accept what you are told without examining it. Building apps has been the best mental exercise of my life. It forces me to think in systems, to see connections, to break complex problems into simple steps, to communicate with precision. Every app I build makes me a clearer thinker, and clearer thinking improves every other area of my life. My business decisions are better, my parenting is better, my conversations are better, because my mind is sharper. The fourth dimension is physical. Your body, your health, your energy. You cannot build a business if you are exhausted. You cannot serve your community if you are sick. You cannot think clearly if your body is running on junk food and 3 hours of sleep. The physical dimension is about treating your body as the vehicle that carries everything else. Sleep, nutrition, movement. These are not luxuries. They are infrastructure. I learned this lesson the hard way. When I first started vibe coding, I would build for 10 hours without moving. After 3 weeks, my neck locked up. My back was in constant pain. My eyes were bloodshot. I was sleeping 8 hours but waking up exhausted. My body was rebelling against the stillness. I had to change. I set a timer. Every 45 minutes, I stood up. I stretched. I drank water. I looked out the window. Those 5-minute breaks changed everything. My pain disappeared. My energy improved. And my thinking got clearer because a body in motion produces a mind in motion. I also started running regularly, and I noticed that my best ideas came during runs, not during work sessions. The physical movement unlocked mental creativity that sitting at a desk never could. The fifth dimension is family. The people closest to you, your children, your partner, your parents, your siblings. These relationships are not distractions from your work. They are the reason for your work. When this dimension is strong, you build for legacy, not just for ego. You build something that will benefit the people you love, not just yourself. When it is weak, you build for recognition and wonder why no one celebrates with you. I am a mother of 4, and I will be honest. Balancing building and family is the hardest thing I have ever done. There are days when I am so deep in my work that I forget to be present. My body is in the room with my children, but my mind is in the code. On those days, I have learned to close the laptop, to be fully present, to tell my children that Mama is having a hard day with work, but I am here with you now. And then I play with them. I read with them. I cook with them. Because the apps will be there tomorrow. But my children will only be this age once. But I also want to share something beautiful that happened because of my building. My daughter, who is 11, started watching me build apps. She would sit next to me and ask what I was doing. I would explain. She would ask questions. And one day she said, "Mama, can I build one too?" I said, "Of course." She described an app for tracking the books she reads. The AI built it in 30 minutes. My 11-year-old daughter built her first app without writing a single line of code. That moment was not about technology. It was about possibility. She now knows that she can build, and that knowledge will shape the rest of her life. The sixth dimension is social. Your community, your friends, your network, your tribe. These are the people who challenge you, support you, hold you accountable, and celebrate with you. No one builds anything great alone. The social dimension is about surrounding yourself with people who make you better and being someone who makes others better. I have seen the power of community in my own apps. When I launched Smart Investor Leader, I did not have a community strategy, but a community formed organically. Users started finding each other. They started sharing tips. They started encouraging each other. They started referring friends. That community became the most valuable feature of the app, not because I built it, because I created the conditions for it to grow. Community is not a feature you add, it is a culture you cultivate. The seventh dimension is professional. Your work, your career, your business. This is where you apply your skills and create value for others. It is important, but it is not the most important. It is one of 7, not the whole picture. When the professional dimension is strong, you do work that matters. You create value, you earn a living, you contribute to society. When it is weak, you drift, you do work that drains you, you earn just enough to survive but not enough to thrive. Vibe coding transformed my professional dimension. Before I was a business owner who depended on others to build my products. Now, I am a builder who creates my own products. I have 7 apps. I generate revenue from multiple streams. I am ranked in the top 0.03% of builders on my platform. That did not happen because I am the most talented person. It happened because I found a tool that matched my natural abilities. I am good at describing what I want. I am good at seeing the big picture. I am good at understanding what users need. Vibe coding turned those strengths into software. Now here is why this framework matters for vibe coding. Most technology serves one dimension. A fitness app serves the physical dimension. A budgeting app serves the financial dimension. A meditation app serves the spiritual dimension. That is fine. But when I build apps, I ask a different question. I ask, how can this app serve multiple dimensions at once? Let me give you an example. Smart Investor Leader teaches financial education. That serves the financial dimension. But it also teaches from a place of values and purpose, not greed. That serves the spiritual dimension. It includes a community of learners who support each other. That serves the social dimension. It is designed for parents who want to build wealth for their families. That serves the family dimension. One app serving 4 dimensions. That is the difference between building a tool and building a movement. When I first started building apps, I was only thinking about the professional dimension. I was thinking about features and functionality and user experience. I was not thinking about the whole person. And my early apps were technically good, but emotionally empty. They worked, but they did not resonate. Then I started asking the 7 dimensions question. How does this app serve the whole person? And everything changed. Users started staying longer. They started referring friends. They started sending me messages saying this app changed my life. Not because the features were better, because the app addressed them as a whole person, not just a user. Here is something I want you to understand. The 7 dimensions are not separate boxes. They are connected. When you strengthen one dimension, it automatically strengthens others. When you neglect one, it weakens others. Think about what happens when you are financially stressed. Your mental dimension suffers because you are constantly worrying. Your physical dimension suffers because stress affects your sleep and your health. Your family dimension suffers because you bring that stress home. Your spiritual dimension suffers because you start to doubt your purpose. One weak dimension pulls the others down. Now think about what happens when you strengthen your spiritual dimension. You find peace. That peace gives you mental clarity. That clarity helps you make better financial decisions. Better decisions reduce stress. Less stress improves your health. Better health gives you more energy for your family. Your family supports your professional growth. One strong dimension lifts the others up. This is why I build apps. Not to solve one problem, but to create a positive cascade. When someone uses my financial education platform, they do not just learn about money. They learn about values. That leads to better decisions, which leads to less stress, which leads to better health, which leads to better relationships. One app, multiple dimensions, one transformed life. I want to leave you with this thought. The 7 dimensions framework is not just for building apps. It is for building a life. Take a moment right now and rate each dimension of your life on a scale of 1 to 10. Spiritual, financial, mental, physical, family, social, professional. Which dimension is your weakest? What would it take to move it from a 3 to a 5, from a 5 to a 7? You do not need to fix everything at once. Just identify the weakest dimension and give it attention. Because strengthening one dimension strengthens them all. And when you think about the app you want to build, ask yourself, which dimensions does it serve? If it serves only one, how could it serve one more? Just one more. That simple question will make your app more valuable, more meaningful, and more successful. If you want to learn more about the 7 dimensions and how to build apps that serve the whole person, join me at 7D AI Academy. Search for 7D AI Academy online and start your journey today. I am Smarty, and this has been episode 2 of Vibe Coding with Purpose. In the next episode, we are going to get practical. We are going to talk about building apps without writing code. Real apps. Apps that work. I will see you there.